Hey, Collective. Patriot Earth Alliance White Hat update. And trust me, I didn't plan on bringing a message, but when Spirit tells you to do something, you got to do it. Or you should do it, because you might miss that next opportunity. So, I don't know. I don't even know if this is real, but it feels real. 5:33 p.m. I did a video earlier. I haven't posted it. I'll share it with this one. But it's 5/25/2025. When you play with the numbers, the numerology, that's 777. It's a porthole. And that's spirit. That's just spirit. That's the teachings. And on the road again. Walking back from going to get water. I needed to get water, so I had to walk. They took my license. Someone took my vehicles, but that's all right. That's material stuff. I have 2 legs that I can walk, so, and I've been tasked to bring messages, as is a lot of the collective of bringing messages. And who's the collective? We're all collective. What are we collecting? We're trying to collect the truth and the way and have our lights on to do God's will and to be humble about it. I'm very humble with the love and the grace. And I learned from my ancestors. My uncle, who was a first responder, who is in spirit, and he come through, as many of the ascended masters that paved the way. Today's a day of rest and reflection on all God's creations, because God saw that it was all good, the natural order of things. And since the fall of this civilization, we can go back in history and look at past civilizations, Tower of Babel, Sumerian tablets, so many. And one that I've learned about, we all heard of Atlantis. I've said this in the last video. I did a lot of research and I got a lot of downloads, and they blew up a planet called Maldek that used to be between Mars and Jupiter, and it created an asteroid belt, and one of the asteroids hit the planet. Yeah, confirmation. When you know, and we don't know, Spirit only gives you what you need at the time you need it, because it's divine timing, not our timing. And until we break out of that ego, we're stuck in karmic patterns. And when we're being lied to by the beasts that created a system to enslave us. Go ahead. Thank you. Being nice. I shared a video of them changing the natural order of things, and they're trying to capture us and keep us unorganic, putting metals in our body and trying to control us with frequencies and keeping our thought patterns in the same loop so we work for them, when we have a divine creator that not only created all this for us to evolve and be doing his will as his will's been done in the heavens, because he is the ultimate artist. He wants us to do his will on earth as it's been done in the heavens. So to know that at a deeper level is just fascinating. It's more than a wonder of it all, which I do wonder about these things because I don't even know what to say. But, we will, I keep saying this, one day we will meet our galactic ancestors. And to honor the ancestors and to give it all, tomorrow's Memorial Day. And today's a day of rest and reflection. As like I said, God saw the natural order of things was all good. So they threw us off balance. They worship Baal, that's a demon. Also Moloch, that's another demon. I know God's removing those types of worshipers because he said this. His words ring true. He's a just God, and now it's written in Scripture. If you read his words, enough. You know, all his words are his words. I'm not trying to, listen, I don't know all the Bible. I'm still learning and I'm still growing. And I'm loving it. I read it every day now. I needed to. We all should. Because it's the respect of it all. And to treat each other the way we want to be treated, you know, that's the mirror image. If we're made in the image of God, we can't be egotistical, and we've all fallen trapped to that. You know, we've all fallen trapped to that. No one's exempt. No one's exempt from the laws of the universe. God set these laws. We've got laws in this realm that our forefathers brought, inalienable rights, Constitution, and then they were amending them and bending them and breaking them. Well, they can't break his 10 Commandments. They're written in stone. And the chief cornerstone is our Lord and Savior. Because when you focus on him and don't deny what he gave, you access our Father. Because following Christ takes that practice, takes that understanding, takes that grace. Let me tell you, his grace is endless. It's been endless. We've been doing this. We've had past lives. We're working to evolve. The Galactics said this. The newer souls coming into this realm are advanced souls. They don't want to come into a realm that's full of karmic debt because nobody wants to. I don't want to say nobody. Souls don't want to come and suffer the karmic debts that we've created. We have created it. Our Creator's perfect in all that he does. We are imperfect, but we have a way, a truth and a way. It's all the truth. So if Christ already saved us, and our vessels, and our temple, you know, God has a holy church, but it starts in the temple, between the temples, to be able to access doing his will. Takes the understanding of all that he gave and have an open heart and a way to practice not abusing the energies and to respect the energies that we are here to create with. And if we're in strife, we're off balance. And how can we create if we're constantly fighting with each other? As someone said, Trump is a builder, not a destroyer. But they left this man no choice. They attacked him so hard, and that's the enemy. We're fighting against powers and principalities, wickedness in high places that are coming down. It's the Malachi prophecy, the last pope, and then you got the crown that was cracked back in September 8th, 2022. September 8th, 1776. Was the Liberty Bell cracked? I know it wrong. They said it wrong. I don't know. That's his story. HISS story. We're going with his story. The one. That one. For kingdom building fun. But you have to go back to being children of God. Let me tell you. First you crawl because you can't walk upright until you crawl like a baby. And we're babies in the spiritual practice because we haven't fully understood it yet. But we're getting there. He only requires that mustard seed. So every day is a new day to try again. The Cain and Abel story. I've said this before. I share because Spirit comes through, puts it in my heart to share with all of you. Whoever wants to have ears to hear and eyes to see. It's not me being a wise guy because I'm very humble on this. I had to go through the fire to have an understanding of these painful lessons are really just blessings. And we evolve that way. And we respect it and learn about how loving and graceful Christ and our Creator have been. We have our ancestors rooting us on in spirit, watching us to evolve because they're an intelligent race, a lot smarter than us. But they love us because they were the, keepers of the garden. Look up Dolores Cannon. I've said this before. She was full of wisdom. She's in spirit now, but she You know, she helped put me on this path. I would call her a child of God and an ancestor who helped pave the way, as all our ancestors have. Founding fathers, inalienable rights, 250-year anniversary, you know, June 19th, Battle of Bunker Hill, 250 years. Next year's July 4th will be 250 years of the Declaration of Independence. So to know these things, it's exciting. The year of the Jubilee, you know, the Lionsgate porthole, all these things are lining up exactly how God intended it to. And now we all have choices, we all have voices, and we can make these choices to evolve and become better. That's all. That's the message. Stay up and stay blessed, because I know we all are. Peace.
Theories have turned out to be true.
Which ones? The Trump-Russia witch hunt, Jeffrey Epstein, JFK assassination, the misuse of the Patriot Act, the Iraq War, the weapons of mass destruction, the war in Ukraine, the bombing of the Nord Stream pipeline, the open border migration caravans, the climate change scam, chemtrails, and HARP, and 9/11 being an inside job, and the Internet of Things surveillance grid, and PFAs, and chemicals in the water turning everyone gay, and the 2020 election being stolen, and January 6th being filled with undercover feds, and Bilderberg and Bohemian Grove, and global government, not to mention gain-of-function research, and the threat of China, and collapsing birth rates, and defund the police, and George Soros, and mail-in ballots, and big tech censorship, and disinformation agencies, and Obama's birth certificate, and probably some others I can't think of. I mean, so a few of them. I guess a couple of them have been true.
Do you know about alchemical sexual alchemy? There's 33 vertebrates in your spine. There's 33 years in the life of Jesus
Christ. Yeah.
So this substance comes from your medulla, makes the trip down your spine to your sacrum, which is Christ coming down into human form.
Yes.
And if you don't squander that essence, that sexual essence, it ascends again and goes back up to heaven, which is your thing. It's also the story of Santa Claus. Why he comes down the chimney is because this juice or this whatever substance actually passes what's called the claustrum, which is where they got Santa Claus. So it goes down the chimney and back up the chimney.
In the brain, in the cranium, there is the cerebrum. And in the cerebrum, and in particular the claustrum is sitting right there in the middle of the head, virtually. From the claustrum there is a secretion, brain fluid. And this fluid is an oil. And in ancient times, this fluid was called, in Greek, it's called Christos. It's called the Christ. It's this beautiful fluid which comes from the cerebrum and pours down the spinal cord. It goes down the spinal cord and it reaches the sacral plexus, right next door to the sacrum, which are the 5 second bottommost fused vertebrae bones at the bottom of the spinal column. The bottommost portion of the spinal column is called the coccyx. Then just above that is the sacrum. 5 fused bones. So the sacral plexus is connected to the sacrum. And the fluid which comes from the cerebrum pours down the spinal cord and comes to the bottommost part of the spinal cord. Now, the claustrum is otherwise known as the holy claustrum, simply because of this beautiful oil, this Christos, that is produced and secreted. You see, the word secret comes from secretion, because this secretion is a secret. And the sacrum is the sacred part of the secret. As the secretion pours down the spinal cord and reaches the sacrum, this is the marvelous way in which our body has been designed. And the spinal cord is basically just an extension of the brain. It also does thinking. And you see, the holy claustrum is otherwise known as the Santa Claus drum. You see, because this fluid that goes down to the sacred plexus is a sacred fluid. And this is where the story of Santa Claus bringing presents down the chimney comes from. It's a story of physiology. And the Bible is a beautiful manual of physiological regeneration. What happens with this fluid is that every month when the moon is in the sign where your sun was when you were born, every month there is a germ or a seed planted in the solar plexus, which is just above the sacral plexus. And that germ is the oil, the Christ, which is born in Bethlehem, because the solar plexus is otherwise known as Bethlehem, where the seed, where the Christ is born. And that seed, that oil needs to return whence it came, in the midbrain. You see, as the oil ascends the spinal cord, the vibration of the oil of the Christ increases. And you see, first of all, the oil is differentiated in the pineal gland and the pituitary gland before it is sent down the spinal cord. And the pineal gland is the electric portion, and the pituitary gland is the magnetic portion. So the oil is differentiated and it is brought down the spinal cord via the Pingala and the Ida nerves. These are what is otherwise known as the Kundalini and the Kundabhatha.
Helen Hadsell was able to win any competition she took part in. She was known as the contest queen because she had won 7 trips to Paris, boats, houses. She would basically take part in any sweepstake she read about, any contest, and she would just win. That made my documentary crew, and I asked Helen, how do you do that? And she spoke about this thing called the Silva technique. Helen, you see, was Jose Silva's former PR manager. She had the benefit of learning closely from that man. Now, Jose Silva was a radio repairman who lived in the border town of Laredo, Texas in the 1940s. He had 10 kids, and his kids were not doing very well in school. Now, Jose Silva had a crazy idea. You see, he had served in the US Army, and he was fascinated by the psychological questions that the Army psychologists would ask new recruits. So he decided to look at psychology and then look at what he knew about radio repair and figure out how he could change the mindset and the brains of his kids so they could do better in school. As a radio repairman, he knew that if you reduce the resistance of a wire, more electricity flows through it. So he wondered, what could I do to reduce the resistance in the human mind? He decided to experiment with reducing.
Make you stronger, it sends you battles, not blessings. But you think you're being punished. You think life is against you. But the obstacle is never the enemy. It is the invitation. When David was meant to become a king, he wasn't handed a throne. He was handed a giant. Because greatness is not given. It is provoked. It must be fought for. It must be awakened inside you. The mountain was never meant to crush you. It was meant to show you who you are. So the next time life sends you a storm, don't curse it. Don't run from it. Bow to it. For the storm has come to crown you.
Remember when I said 13 months, 28 days a month, 364 days in a year? Then you add the leap year? Here we go.
You ever wonder why we're told it's the year 2025? Because it's not, and it never was. This is a deep one, and only those whose magic lens is activated might grasp it. Time has been edited, deleted, and reset. Not by accident, but by design. In 1582, Pope Gregory XIII dropped the Gregorian calendar. It replaced Julius Caesar's Julian calendar. And guess what? 10 full days were deleted. Time was literally rewritten. Why? To realign with the sun, they said. But what else got realigned? Now here's where it gets insane. A theory called the phantom time hypothesis says 297 years were completely made up. Yeah, between 614 and 911 AD, possibly fake. If that's true, we're not in 2025. We're in 1728. Let that sink in. Ethiopia never played along. They're in 2017 right now. The Chinese, it's year 4722. Hebrews, 5785. The Mayans, on a whole different timeline. So what even is a year? And here's the twist. Ancient cultures followed a 13-moon calendar. 13 months, 28 days each. Perfectly synced with nature and the cosmos. But 13 was demonized, erased, because 13 represents the divine feminine, the lunar cycle, and balance. Too powerful to leave in play. So why mess with time? Because time is power. If you control time, you control history, identity, spiritual connection. You disconnect humans from nature and plug them into a system. We don't live by nature's time anymore. We live by the machines. And the more you wake up to that, the more you'll realize the clock is lying. You ever wonder?
Jesus was born through natural human birth, a sacred conception, yes, but not the way people were later taught through distorted religion. His biological parents were real, Mary and Joseph, but his soul, his consciousness field, was not ordinary. He was a solar being, an intentional emanation of the infinite source, sent here to build a living bridge between the divine and the human. When he was young, he carried memories, but they were fragmented. He wasn't fully activated yet. He had to train, travel, remember, and earn it, just like you are now. He left his homeland during the so-called missing years. He journeyed through Egypt, India, Tibet, and into hidden enclaves of knowledge, places where ancient wisdom survived the control systems. He learned fasting. He learned meditation. He learned how to activate the bioelectric field, the true Christ light inside the human vessel. Through those initiations, he became what some would call an avatar, a being whose nervous system could channel source current directly into the physical plane without distortion. When he returned to Jerusalem, he wasn't founding a religion. He was teaching liberation. He told people the kingdom is within you, not in temples, not through priests, not through blood sacrifice. He taught direct connection to the infinite, bypassing all systems of external control. Rome realized what was happening. They weren't scared of a political rebellion. They were terrified of a spiritual awakening they couldn't control. Because once people realize they don't need priests, kings, or empires to access God, the whole system collapses. So they neutralized him. They corrupted his message. They manufactured a religion in his name. 300 years later, through the Council of Nicaea, they edited and weaponized his legacy, turning the liberator into an idol, turning direct remembrance into blind worship, turning the blueprint for awakening into a matrix of obedience. But here's the truth. The Christ light he activated never died. It went underground. It passed through hidden lineages. It stayed alive in the DNA of those who remembered, even through ages of suppression. And now it's rising again, not through temples, not through governments, not through corporations, through you, through those who remember. They were never meant to kneel, but to walk the earth as living embodiments of source light. Jesus.
They supposed to do it on PTSD, you fucking family member. Now they're gonna have fucking PTSD. Okay?
My dog's face.
This some of that
Oh, look over there, Titus.
Is your oncoming twin. The fourth twin, the leader.
These things are attacking my dog. I'm telling you. They're attacking my dog. The frequencies make us... It's just sad. It's really sad. These people are sad, and they're going to prison for a real long time. Not you, Titus. I'm not mad at you. Okay, people. I gotta take you around a little bit here. This is the mail from the last 2 weeks. Okay, I can't go through all this mail because it's like every day. Okay, so whatever. Regardless, this is just the one case that's 2.5 years. Here's 1, 2, 3 computers that I don't even use because I'm locked out of them. Here's some iPads and iPhones that we got this, right. Watch this. Here's the 2 computers that I use. This one's brand new, $3,400, and that's even getting screwed up now because they hacked into it. There's another one, and it doesn't matter. I'm just saying. There's my main phone, and here's the other phones. So yeah. So now watch this. Watch. Look at it's on high. It goes off. It comes on. It goes off. Same thing with this. This is the $3,200. Look at, I've returned this thing. This is the, look at the, so yeah, it's a fun house. It's entity attachments. I've been waiting for the people at Skinwalker Ranch to give me a call because you know what? Here's a Geiger counter. This thing goes off the Richter scale. I've showed this before, but no one seems to care. Not in my family, not in my friends list. They just think I'm the wackadoodle. I got a book. It says between 60 and 100 is normal. This thing goes up over 1,800. So when the entities are around and they're screwing with my electricity, it's an interesting house. But when the dog's sick and constantly scratching and shaking his head, it gets you a little upset. See how it goes off? It's all the burning. It goes on and it goes off. Come on. See? And this stuff ain't that old. It's pretty new. So I just wanted to take you along. You had to learn to be patient, because this shit will get you off your rocker. But stay up.
cool.
Mystical mist of Avalon. Past tense, how long? Serious song to get along. Unite, it's long overdue. Who do we owe? We know who. Conscious about it, be aware. A lone wolf climbing the stairs, thought is real. This we can say, back to being children. Who wants to play? Our Father's in heaven, creator of all. Seek our King, he stops this fall. P-U-T is full. Up the cup and feel that pull. Raising a vibration, uniting a nation. Pandemic sounds demonic. God is on it, spirit's back, full of might. No true wrath, you need foresight. 7 sins damage us all. Now's the time. Answer the call. Call on spirit. Who wants to hear it? 7 sisters appear. They are here. They will assist from up above. Showering down with so much love. I must insist we share and care. This is the year. Rapture is when? No idea. War on consciousness. Pay close attention. No con in Allah. This I did mention. Dim in the lights. These shadows will do. Attack God's children. It's nothing new. CIA. Oh who? Christ angels. See it through.